Hello class, this is your teacher Mr. McDougall with your next Premiere Pro tutorial. In this one we're going to talk about a talking head. We're going to edit a simple talking head video of me welcoming you to this course in general. So what a talking head is something you've seen 1,000 times online. That's just when someone is talking straight into the camera. You're looking into the camera and you're talking to it to talk to the audience member. So that's why we call it a talking head, because that's basically what we see. So you're going to create something that looks similar to this.
Hi, I'm Mr. McDougall and I am your Intro to Graphics instructor. In this class, you are going to learn a lot of fun things about graphic design and video production. I'm a certified...
So something like that where we cut quickly and I'm talking to the camera, just quickly explaining the course to explain what it is to the viewer, someone like you. So watch that. So I'm going to give you all the raw footage. You're going to see it. This is after we edit it and how cleanly it comes out, because it doesn't start off like that. So download all the exercise files and let's open them up into a new project in Premiere Pro. So you have 4 of these raw files. This is the raw footage, not the polished one like I just showed you. So let's start by putting them on the timeline one at a time. You'll see there's 01, 02, 03, and 04. They're all in sequential order, so make sure you put them on the timeline in that order. We'll start with number 1, and we'll do number 2, number 3, and number 4. And what you'll notice about these, similar to the previous assignment, is these have audio now. We're going to dive into audio for the remainder of our projects in this unit. So remember, the video goes on track V1 and the audio goes on track A1. So V is video, which stacks up this way. A is audio, which stacks down this way. So every new audio track is going to go right here, and every new video track is going to go right there. And as I mentioned before, these tracks can be extended. If you hover your mouse right in between where it says the numbers A1 and A2, if you put it right in between, you can click and hold your mouse and drag it to extend these to make them a little bit bigger. I could do the same thing up here in the videos. I can extend these to make them a little bit bigger, and it shows me a little bit more of a preview of what the clip looks like. So now we get the super fun job of going through each of these videos and cutting out the mistakes. We're going to make a polished version. This is the raw videos of me talking to the camera just in general. A lot of mistakes, a lot of getting ready. We're going to cut all the dead space and all the dead air, and we're just going to get me with the clean sentences. And I am going to make a lot of mistakes, so let's check out just this first part. I'm not going to go through every single video clip because they will take a while, but let me just show you a little bit.
Sound check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hi, my name is Mr. McDougall and I am the Intro to Graphics. Hi, I'm Mr. McDougall and I am the Intro to Graphics. Hi, I'm Mr. McDougall and I am the Intro to Graphics instructor.
So what you're going to do is you're going to listen for those good takes. So obviously these ones where I make a mistake, we're not going to use that. We're going to use the ones that sound pretty good. So this one sounded pretty good right here. So what we're going to do is, instead of trimming the clip like we normally are, we're going to actually make some cuts using the razor tool. This will allow us to cut chunks of the clip out instead of trimming the entire thing. So I just want to isolate this little part right here that looked pretty clean, and then maybe some of these other ones that might be potentially clean as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look right here. These audio waves, these are the parts that I'm talking. So it's easier for you to kind of see the parts where I'm talking and go here and see which ones are good and which ones are bad. So this one was a good one. I'm going to keep this one right here. So to make a cut, we're going to come over here to the razor tool. You see right here it says razor tool, or C on your keyboard, which looks like a little razor blade. Take that, and that is used to make a cut. So if I bring my razor tool right over here and line it up with the CTI, I can click and it will make a cut all the way down. So now I've separated this into 2 clips. I'm going to come over here to the other side.
Graphics instructor.
Right there, when I'm done saying graphics instructor, I like that part, so I'm going to cut again. So now I've isolated this into its own little clip right here. I didn't delete the rest of the clip yet, but I've isolated it so this part is separate. So I know that I potentially want to keep that one. Let's see if either of these other takes are pretty good too.
In this class, you will get to learn a really lot. Nope. In this class, you'll get to learn a lot of really fun things about graphic design and video production.
So those parts sounded good too. Let's cut that right there. And let's cut at the beginning of when I started talking. Right about here. All right, so I've cut these chunks out. I'm going to go back to my selection tool. So I cut out this chunk right here, and I cut out this chunk right here. I know I want to keep these two. The rest of the clips in this long clip, I don't need. These are the mistakes right here. So these I can get rid of. I'm going to take this one and hit delete. Same thing with this one, hit delete, and this one, hit delete. So now I just have these two chunks, which I really like. So let's delete the gap in between so it's all the way to the left. Remember, we want our clips always all the way to the left. Otherwise, if I play the video, it's going to play for about 30 seconds of black screen, so I don't want that. Make this all the way over, all the way over. And now this is my video so far.
Hi, I'm Mr. McDougall, and I am the Intro to Graphics instructor. In this class, you'll get to learn a lot of really fun things about graphic design and video production.
See, it's looking a lot better already, cutting out the mistakes. So what you originally saw was the raw footage, which is not always pretty, and yes, there are a lot of mistakes. And from your opinion and your perspective, when you're looking at these and you're watching YouTubers and TikTokers and everyone who's online, and you look at them and you think, why is that so difficult? Before you start judging, it is a lot harder than it looks to talk to the camera. As soon as you hit that record button and you're looking to the camera and you have to recite something, it's easy to forget your own name. It is much harder than it looks, and you'll get a chance to experience that later on. But before you start judging and looking at all my mistakes, I want you to keep that in mind because it is very difficult. So you're going to go through and cut out all of the mistakes till you just have a snappy intro sequence with all of the clean parts of me talking. And when you're done, you should be left with about 60 seconds of it. So I'm going to cut it out right now, and then you can join me at the same spot in just a moment. Okay, so I've cut out all of the best chunks so far, and as you can see, I need to close the gap. So there was about almost 10 minutes of just the raw footage, but we're cutting out about 9 minutes of mistakes or so we can get to just the good stuff. So make sure that you close the gaps with each of these so it's pushed all the way to the front. Right now mine's a little over a minute. I might need to trim it down a little bit more because we want it around 60 seconds. I think there's a couple of parts where I had multiple takes that I liked, and now I have to decide between the two of them.
Hi, I'm Mr. McDougall, and I am the Intro to Graphics instructor. Hi, I'm Mr. McDougall, and I am your Intro to Graphics instructor.
So you'll get that a part lot too, where I took multiple takes, and a couple of them came out pretty good. So now I have to decide between those two which ones I like the most.
Hi, I'm Mr. McDougall, and I am the Intro to Graphics instructor. I'm Mr. McDougall, and I am your Intro to Graphics instructor.
So the same thing with those two. I like them. I like the one where I say your a little bit better. I kind of like that one, so I'm going to delete this one. And I'm going to go with this one instead. And then same thing with these. Let's see, I like these two a little bit better.
In this class, you'll get to learn a lot of really fun things about graphic design and video production. In this class, you are going to learn a lot of fun things about graphic design and video production.
So both of those are pretty good and clean. So again, when you have multiple takes, and this is what you're doing when you're doing a video, you will do multiple takes just to have several versions of it. You can see each one I say it slightly differently. So you just have to pick which one you like the best. I kind of like the way I emphasize the words in this one a little bit better.
You are going to learn a lot of fun things about graphic design and video production.
All right, so I'm going to keep that one and delete this one. All right, so now I have my video pretty clean. As you can see, I'm at about 1 minute. So let's see how it's starting to look now with all of the dead filler cut out.
Hi, I'm Mr. McDougall, and I am your Intro to Graphics instructor. In this class, you are going to learn a lot of fun things about graphic design and video production. I'm a certified Adobe.
So you could see how it's looking now, looking a lot better. Now it's looking pretty clean, like I actually didn't make any mistakes. And that's the videos you see online are cut together to cut out all the mistakes to make the person talking seem like they don't make mistakes, like they're saying everything very cleanly. That's the beauty of editing, is you can make it sound like you never make mistakes when you're talking. But as you can see from the raw footage, I made a ton of mistakes. We can even trim it a little bit more. If I zoom in, I can even trim out just several microseconds of some of these to make the cuts a little bit faster, like the ones between this part.
Video production. I am a certified
See, it's kind of slightly too long of a gap right there.
video production. I am a certified.
So I can close it just a little bit. If I trim it just from the end, just a little bit, I'm getting really close and deleting this gap. So let's see if it tightens it up a little bit.
And video production. I am a certified Adobe.
See, now it moves a little bit faster, and you'll see that whenever you see videos online, you notice they cut really quickly. There's often hardly a gap between sentences. It just goes right from one clip to the next. So that is the first part. And again, make sure you've caught up to me at this point. If you are not up to here, make sure you pause the video so you can get to the points that I'm at. So once you finish cutting everything down, the next thing we need to worry about is audio. So I've only briefly touched on audio in the last example, but for audio, we need to look over here. This is our audio meter. You can see whenever there's talking or whenever these spikes of audio waves of me talking, it comes up on this side.
Hi, I'm Mr. McDougall, and I am your Intro to Graphics instructor.
So the important thing about audio is we're going to use these numbers for measurement. And the way audio is measured is in decibels or dBs. And we need to pay attention to appropriate audio levels. You can see most of it is green, but then when it starts getting up here, it gets red, orange, or yellow, orange, and then even red. When it's red, that is bad. That means it's peaking. That means the audio level is way too loud. And the solution is not to just turn down your speakers, because that doesn't actually help. Turning down your computer speaker volume doesn't actually control the audio level of the video. It just controls how loud your speakers are. I want to make sure that the audio levels of the video are appropriate and not too loud. Whenever you look over here, I can see that this is way too loud.
I'm McDougall, and I am your Intro to Graphics instructor.
So when it gets into the red, we call that redlining or peaking. We don't want peaking. Peaking is bad. That means it's going to spike and it might damage someone's speakers or headphones. So when you're doing audio, the golden rule is you want your audio to fall somewhere in this section right before it starts to turn yellow. So around -6 to -12. That's the sweet spot for human ears. Our human ears can only hear so much. If it's down here at -45 or anything lower, our ears actually can't even hear that. We can't pick it up. So we want it to be up high enough to where our ears can hear it and it's comfortable. And again, for humans, it's between -6 and -12. That's the sweet spot. And you'll see that's right about before it starts to turn yellow.
In this class, you are going to learn a lot of fun things about graphic design and video production.
So you can see that right there. So I want it right in that zone. So all of these are way too loud because they're the raw video of me talking into the microphone. So the way we're going to do that, you can adjust the audio levels with this line right here. And if you don't see this line, you just need to extend your audio track. See how I can extend it? So right now yours is probably thin like this. If you take this and extend it, you can see this white line right here. And with this white line, you can grab it and adjust the volume. You see how it says volume level 0? I can drag this line and bring it down. And now that I've made that video a little bit quieter.
Hi, I'm Mr. McDougall, and I am your Intro to Graphics instructor.
See how it's not getting into the red anymore? But the way we can do that for every single one of them, instead of you having to drag down the audio levels for each clip, I'm going to hit Control Z to undo that. We can manually set all of the audio. So if I zoom out, I'm going to select all of these clips right here. On each clip, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to come up to audio gain. Gain is how much sound is being absorbed into the microphone. So for audio gain, I'm going to come over here to normalize all peaks, and where it says 0, I'm going to click here, and I'm just going to type in -6 and then hit enter. And you can see all of the audio levels dropped a little bit. So let's see how it sounds now.
I'm Mr. McDougall, and I am your Intro to Graphics instructor.
See how it sounds a little bit quieter and more tame, and it's capping at -6. So now it's not getting any higher for any of the talking levels.
In this class, you are going to learn a lot of fun things about graphic design and video production.
So that's where I want it, right in the -6, -12 zone. So now I know that my audio levels are appropriate. Again, when you're controlling your audio, it's not by what you're just hearing out of your computer, and it's not by turning down your computer speakers. You are controlling the audio levels by checking this right here. It's very important that you check this, and you're right at about between -6 and -12. That's how you know your audio is accurate. That way, when you post the video and your viewer watches it, it's not super loud because maybe their headphones are turned up really loud, but you don't want to blow out their headphones because your video is too loud.
I'm a certified Adobe instructor and a professional photographer and videographer, and I am going to teach you the techniques that I use in my line of work as well as the film industry.
So as long as I can check that, as long as I'm not going into the red, I know that my audio levels are appropriate. Perfect. So now that we have our audios checked, the next thing we're going to do is, once everything is finalized, now we are going to color correct. So we haven't color corrected in a bit, so let's do that. In order to color correct, remember to open your Lumetri Color window. Go to Window, Lumetri Color. That brings up this one. Click on each clip and just do the auto one. You can see auto fixes the color, because all the videos by default are underexposed. They're really dark. But doing this fixes it so now you can see my face, because no one wants to look into a dark face like that. Go for each one. Click on each clip. Remember to click on the clip specifically and do auto, so that way you're editing the right one. Auto, auto, auto. So now I'm looking good and I'm sounding good.
Mr. McDougall, and I am your Intro to Graphics instructor.
Awesome, that's looking great. And again, we save the color correcting for the very end, so you don't color correct every single clip and then discard some of them. I know that this is going to be my final product, so now we're almost ready to finish up. The last thing we're going to do is we are going to export 2 versions of the video. So you see in the example, I have this version, which is the landscape version, and then I have a story version.
Hi, I'm Mr. McDougall, and I am your Intro to Graphics instructor.
So it's the same video, but this one is vertical. So we're going to take the same sequence and duplicate it so it's vertical. So when we do that, again, we save that for the very end, the very last step, so you don't have to edit the video twice. You're not going to edit 2 versions of the video. We're just going to edit one, and we're going to create a vertical version of it. So let's go back over here to our media bin. I'm going to do it in list mode for a second. You can see your sequence. This is the sequence that was created right here, Talking Head 1. This one we're going to rename. We're going to rename it to Talking Head 16 by 9. See how it's 16 by 9? That means it's going this way. It's landscape. It's long ways, like you're watching on a computer screen or your phone is turned sideways for a YouTube video. That is 16 by 9. So we're going to duplicate it. So right click on it and go to duplicate. So now we have a copy of the sequence. So we're going to rename the copy. Click on it to rename it. The copy is going to be called 9 by 16. This will be our vertical version. So on the 9 by 16, double click on it and it will open up. So now I have these 2 open right here. Right now they look exactly the same because they're just exact copies of each other. I haven't changed this one at all. So now I'm going to change it. So on this one, the 9 by 16, we're going to change the sequence settings to match just like we did in the previous project with the social media story. Come up to sequence and sequence settings. So it's talking about for this specific sequence settings. And just like we did in the previous assignment, you're on the settings right here. We just need to switch these 2 numbers around. So by default, it's on 16 by 9, which is 1920 by 1080. We just need to switch them. So this one is going to be 1080 and this one will be 1920. And now it's 9 by 16. Click OK. It's going to ask you, are you sure? Because it's going to change the whole aspect. Just click OK, yes. And now you can see we're on this vertical version. So just like in the previous project as well, we need to adjust the scale and position of these. We don't need to do any keyframes because I'm not moving a lot, but we need to adjust the scale and position so there's no black bars showing and that my face is in the middle. So let's adjust the scale of this one and maybe position slightly so I'm more in the center. And I'll do that for each one. Okay, so now that I've finished doing that, you can see now I have the exact same video twice, just with 2 versions. Here's my original one, the 16 by 9.
Hi, I'm Mr. McDougall, and I am your Intro to Graphics instructor.
And then here is the vertical version.
Hi, I'm Mr. McDougall, and I am your Intro to Graphics instructor.
And we save this duplication process for the very end. So again, you don't have to edit the video twice. This one, this 9 by 16, it's already been, the audio levels are already appropriate, it's already been color corrected, and it's already been cut. All I had to do was change the sequence settings and the scale and position so I don't have to edit the entire video multiple times. So you're going to export both versions of the video, turn in both your 16 by 9 landscape and your 9 by 16 portrait vertical version as well. Make sure you export each one, turn both of them in, and let me see how you have cut my intro sequence together. I hope you did a good job. Can't wait to check it out. But let me know if you have any questions.